I give the call to the member for Nichols.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Well, the wheels are well and truly coming off this government, and I think we could have some analysis as to why. Good governments have got to have ministers who understand their brief. And if they don't understand their brief, my advice to those ministers is to come out and talk to the people whose decisions they affect. Now, the Minister for Water is a serial offender. She hasn't been to my electorate to discuss the incredibly damaging Murray-Darling Basin plan and what it means to people in my community. Her complete lack of knowledge and understanding of the issue of water was laid bare in the answer to the question that I asked her today. I asked her, had she done any modelling to say how much this would cost and what would the socio-economic impact be on basin communities. And I did not get an answer. What I did get is this comment. The comment was, oh, the Nationals are happy for anyone to buy water except the government. She thought she was having a real crack at everyone. Oh, the Nationals are happy for anyone to buy water except the government. Yeah, you know why? Because when the government buys it, it gets taken out of production. When the government buys it, it sits. When the government buys it, it sits in the weir as environmental water, and there's more environmental water than the people administering the environmental water programs can possibly use. If you understood regional Australia, you would understand that. She doesn't understand. She does not understand that if you take water out of production, the price of food goes up because it gets more expensive to purchase water and to grow food. Look, if any of the Deputy Speaker, if any of the people over there understood how agricultural businesses work, it's input costs. It's input costs. Now, people in my electorate, there are apple growers, there are people who are growing pears, there are people who are growing dairy, who are listening to this minister say, oh, if we make one of your inputs much more expensive, i.e. water, then we're going to be able to offer a cheaper price to Australian families. I mean, that doesn't pass. You go to any pub in Nichols or any of your electorates, the pubs that are still open, it's not going to pass that test. It's not going to pass that test. So you're not backing regional – Labor is not backing regional communities by ripping irrigation water out of those communities. And Blind Freddie can see that. Now, just on the subject of infrastructure in the time I've got left, on infrastructure, I'm new to this place. I spent a lot of time lobbying the previous government to build infrastructure in my electorate. What I saw was a fantastic then Minister for Infrastructure and Transport actually fund and actually build something called the Echuca-Moama Bridge. All I see over here is Gunner. You know that bloke down at the pub, Gunner? They call him Gunner because he always says he's going to do something. So I actually went for a run over the Echuca-Moama Bridge. It wasn't a press release. It's a bridge. Very soon, people in Shepparton are going to have 9 return services on the train to Melbourne and back, thanks to an infrastructure upgrade funded by the previous coalition government. It's not a press release. They're actually building rail. It's going to improve people's lives. It's going to help people to go back and forth to Melbourne. So my advice to those opposite is stop being the gunner, stop saying we're going to do this, build something. Well, I've got an interjection about the Shepparton bypass. Let's talk about the Shepparton bypass. The Shepparton bypass had $208 million committed to it by the previous federal government. It's a critical project. We've got to pull heavy transport out of the middle of Shepparton. We've got to get a second river crossing. The federal government stumped up the money for it to try and get a recalcitrant state government to actually move on the project. And the first thing that's happened when Labor got elected federally is the money's gone. The money's gone. So you've got to actually fund regional infrastructure and build it if you want to have any credibility. We built it, you haven't.
Time's expired.